Hey guys, Did the Awesome here with another Monster Legends discussion video, where we discuss topics and or changes in Monster Legends. And today we're going to talk about our good old buddy, Magical Totem Totem. Totem is, if you haven't kept track of my channel, he is one of my most favorite monsters in the game. He's second. It's my second most favorite monster, and just universally my favorite magic monster of all time. I really like Totem. I've made so many videos on Totem. I felt like this was a good, like if anything, Totem related comes up, hey, bam, put my thoughts on it. I've probably made more videos on Totem than I have with any other monster that that rises discussion. I always like talking about Totem or discussing the advantages of running Totem. There's a few reasons why. He had a very, very, very unique play style, where he would try and stack as much of his damage buff as possible and make your damage dealer do so much damage it was absurd and just wipe out the field in a matter of a few buffs. It's all rune based. It increases the he increases the power stat. This power stat right here increases that. Here, and it would do at some point you would just do a whole bunch of damage. It's basically a living rune temple. I really loved that concept, and like all things in terms of a game, they changed it. It's the concept of play has changed. However, it's a good competitive change. I would say Totem pretty much got a competitive buff. In terms of fun, he got a huge nerf, but he got a huge competitive buff. And we're going to talk about those changes today. I feel like I should do a video on this because, again, I made a bunch of videos on Totem. I really like Totem. It's my second most favorite monster in the game and my favorite magic monster in the game. It's a really cool monster because he does a bunch of stat stuff in terms of life, in terms of all other sorts of things. He's just a living rune monster. I find him fascinating, and he also has the best trait in the entire game, Spirit. Now, it's not a whole talked a lot trait because Totem before wasn't considered all that good by the community. He was really, really good for the Titan event. A lot of people would agree that Totem was a must-have for the Titan because he would give so much damage. I think he's still good, but obviously he's not as busted as the first Titan event ever, where you could just stack that damage buff and get loads and loads of points, easy. His buff is really, really good. Again, they've changed that now. We're going to talk about that. And, Spirit is, in all honesty, the best trait in the game. Why? Because it's basically Artifact with the nice condition that you get buffs. So you run it with Gakora, with a AoE evasion, not take any damage. Run something with huge life regeneration. Get benefits from that. He can hold two amulets here, so you could run one of those amulets with the healing amulet, and if you have like double healing up, you get like 40,000 points back. Because double healing affects pretty much any kind of any sorts of all sources of healing. Sorry for that series of mumbles there, but it affects all sources of healing. So you have life regen on it, or have the healing amulet on at the same time. You just get loads and loads of life back, yeah. That was Totem in a nutshell. But yeah, this I do believe this still hasn't changed, unless they have changed it and they didn't talk about it. We'll see if they've changed that today, but I don't think they would have. It wouldn't make sense if they would. That's basically what the trait does. Spirit does. It makes him immune to everything. It's a really, really cool trait. And now we're going to talk about the rework. Now, why this is a huge competitive change. What's the buff? What was the competitive buff? They basically made the AoEs a lot better, for one. The skills you should be running. You shouldn't be running the single target skills anymore. There's just no point to. Because they basically do the same thing, except the one's on an AoE, one's on a single target base. So basically, I have one of the two AoEs, and it's just a bunch of changing for now, but right now this is what it's going to be. I don't think I'm going to use jumps to change it right now. But basically they improved the the AoEs, right? So Vondun, the damage increase buff, is now an AoE 100% damage buff. Or, you know, increase the power. It's still the same concept. It increases your power. And the nice thing about this is it goes really, really good with extra turn buffers. The damage totem buff lasts for 3 turns. So you're able to combo this with extra turn monsters like Barbatos or Razul, and they basically have a level 10 strength rune. It's a really good good scaling, like insane damage increase from what it was before. Before it was just a level 5 scaling, like if you used the buff, it was only a 48%. That was just for the single target skill. The AoEs, as far as I'm concerned, were garbage. Now again, they have been improved, except for Zombo Mambo. That was nerfed. I don't know why, but that was nerfed to obliteration. For some reason, yeah, I don't know. They just kind of all made the same percentages now, but for some reason they felt the need to nerf the ever-living tar of Exambo Mambo. This used to be a 30% AoE that would decrease all targets' life maximum damage, you know, and stamina by 30%. Now it's a single target 25%. It's still affecting all life damage and stamina, except again, it's only on a single target. I don't know if this stacks. I don't know if any, you know, I don't know if Example Mambo stacks if you have a cooldown, you know, deactivation. I don't know if that's a thing. But basically, they just increased the scaling of his most important buffs, his damage buff and his life buff. Like you know, the increasing of life, again, he works like a living rune temple. So if you put the life buff on a monster, it will scale with that's their new maximum base life. So it adjusts to that. Again, you can't stack the buffs anymore, so you can't. But you can still have like 2 different buffs. You know, I mean, you can have different buffs. You can have like the damage totem buff and the life totem buff, as long as they're not in the same name. You know, this is the stamina totem buff. This is the stamina. You know, as long as it's not the same named buff. VV magic might be really, really good now because again, it's different. Different names, so it counts as a different buff. So I'd run this skill. I'd probably replace it with, you know, the single target skill, and then replace Exambo Mambo with probably one of the stamina buffs. There's just no point to run Exambo Mambo now. There's really just none. There's no justification of running it anymore. It's not an AoE. The 5% was huge enough, but then making it single target wasn't good either. So something I'm interested in trying out. I have yet to try this out. I want to see if because I know the buff doesn't stack. I know straight up you can't stack multiple damage buffs. I mean, like, you know, you can't stack Totem's buff. You can't stack Mahu Mojo a whole bunch. You can't stack the AoE a whole bunch. That same stat increasing buff doesn't work. However, it does combo with other damage boosting, you know, buffs like double damage and damage boost, what have you. It does combo with that stuff. I'm just meaning you can't stack it like you could with, like, you know, previous Totem. Totem could stack for days. He no longer has that ability. I want to see if he can still get buffs. I don't know if they changed that about Spirit. I don't know if they nerfed Spirit at all, and it's just Artifact but a different name. We're going to see that today. So we're going to run Oz, we're going to run Scree, and we're going to run Zyofex, because we're going to take a really good look at that damage, though, when we have all the buffs. So we're going to do the... first off, we should do... because we want to see if that's still a thing. We're going to do the double damage boost. Okay, so yeah, you can still get buffs. Okay, good. They didn't change that. I'm really happy about that. Now we're going to go for the AoE damage boost. Right, so Vodun. Now everyone on our team basically has a X strength rune. And that's crazy. Everyone on, look at that. Look at that. That's crazy scaling. As you can see here, it's much more valuable competitively because you don't have to stack it to. You don't have to stack it twice now. It's an instant. The number one problem people had with Totem was it took too long to get his like huge amounts of damage. A lot of people just liked sticking to double damage buffers because it was just instant. You didn't need to wait a few turns for the damage to be there. But now with this huge change with the Totems buff, it works phenomenally well. Words. We could have done a lot more damage there, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do this again here. We're gonna pull this up here. Now, since this isn't really a I wasn't gonna say they aren't really hard monsters. We should probably do one that is of a higher level. But as you can see here, we got the we're getting the double AoE. So right now we have double our attack stat. And keep in mind, we already have a level X strength rune on our Zyophex. As you can see here in X rune, like a level 10 strength rune is 102%, and Totem's buff is 100%. So 2% less of a 10, but a few percent more of a 9. So basically, it's basically a 10. As you can see here on the number on the top left here, that's a lot of damage. And we haven't applied damage boost yet. So we have damage boost, we have the Totem's buff here. Just lots and lots of damage. Yeah, look at that. just loads and loads of damage. We're gonna do a whatchamacallit here. Let's do a later-ish note here, just to see the amount of damage we actually do. Now, since they have changed Totem's, Totem's playstyle, in the past I have said running full team speed isn't the best way to run him because you want him to be out there as long as possible to stack your buff. Since the stacking is gone, I think that's viable now. You can't, it was viable to begin with. People ran him full team speed. Though I think running him with the life runes at that time was a better build. The life rune and 2 speed, it just worked. In terms of my personal preference on the style, it worked. But now, since you don't have to stack the buff anymore, you don't need to run him with the life rune. You can run him full team speed. You can't fit that with your team speed style now. And since again with the buffs, with his competitive buff, it works just fine. He's basically if you run him with like Barbatos, you basically get quad damage. You can basically get quad, and that's ridiculous. You can get, quadruple damage. It's just dumb because again, the damage stacks. We can we'll put the double damage buff on our Zyophex. We'll put the we'll do the single target. Our things are guaranteed to land. Our buffs. So this guy is running at, this power. He's running at 22,540 power. Well, we'll give him a buff here. Extra turn. So now we have the totem buff. We have the double damage. We have the damage boost. We have all these, boosts here that gives us a bunch of damage. And as you can see here, we completely annihilate the rather tanky monsters. Just completely obliterate them. They're not really running runes, but they're ranked up monsters. Look at how much damage we did there. That's crazy. That's honestly nuts. That's crazy. We'll do I think I have enough for a PvP fight too. So we'll do a PvP fight to showcase just how much the damage, like how stupid that damage is. It won't be as stupid because with the Well, we won't have double damage up. But I think even at that, I think we'll still do enough to kill everyone. And it'll be fantastic. So we're just gonna... I think we're just gonna leave the... We'll just leave this fight. We'll just leave the adventure map. This guy has way too much life. We'll do a PvP fight here with Totem. It's actually been quite a while since I used my Totem, so this should be interesting. So we'll run Totem here. We'll get a good old boy Totem. Our good sir. We'll run the... let's say... No, that's Io. Oh, I have him on the defense here. Oh, let me think here. Can I get a suitable team to fight here for this video? Let's see my defense log. My defense log. My defense log. Yeah. My defense log. I think I can do... I could do this one here in a second. If I run... Yeah, I can do this one. So we're going to replace the Hackster here with Baba Yaga. And we'll run Hackster, of course. And then we'll go into this fight. Now this, in all honesty, Totem works really, really well, again, with extra turn damage dealers like Barbatos or Carlo Calbino or Canbino. There's so many different things you can do. We do get first punch, so that is really good. I hope Baratagor doesn't kill my Xiofex. That would be really bad and sad. Another nice thing too, since again you get like pretty much another X strength rune, it allows you to do different rune builds. So if you're running like an attacker with 2 speeds and a strength rune, you can basically, well actually no, I suppose the attacker has to run team speed too. It has to be slower too, so the combo works better. But we're gonna go for the Mahu Mojo here. We'll do damage boost. And this should do an insane amount of damage. Like, so much damage you're like, what the fuck? That's ridiculous, Chance. That's crazy. Oh, look at that. Complete annihilation. 71,000 damage to the enemy Haxer. Craziness. I will say, again, I wouldn't say Xiofex is his like maximum best partner, though it's pretty good in terms of trait wise. Like, you know, it's a good for trait comps. The best partner I'd have to say would probably be Roswell and Barbatos for their best partner, because again you can stack Totem's buff with the other damage boosting stuff like double damage and damage boost, so that's all good. Overall, like I said, this was a great competitive buff to Totem. Though it did take a huge, like, you know, nerf to fun. It was a lot of fun stacking, you know, damage dealers with Totem's single target buff. It was a lot of fun. It's, you know, it's, now that fun's been gone. But I do appreciate this in the sense of competitive play. Most competitive players would say that this was a good change. It was a change to make him worth using, and I would agree with that in terms of a competitive sense. Yeah, that he did get a competitive buff in the eyes of how useful it is now competitively compared to not having to stack the damage over time, which people hated about it in terms of a competitive sense, and now it's just instant, and now it's basically a level 10 strength rune. People are going to love that. People absolutely adore this monster. I will say this monster is still a must-have monster in the sense of Titan events. I will say that is basically giving your attackers another level 10 strength rune. If you're running a team full of damage dealers with like evasion and they can give themselves, if you're running full damage, you're running the most effective monsters, and they can run they have like evasion to avoid the the dangerous stuff, what have you. This is a good monster to bring. You should have Totem in terms of the sense of Titan events. It is a really great idea to rank up Totem. Rune builds, has the rune builds changed personally, how I feel? Well, I feel like you can run team speed now. I feel like that would be a build I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's viable now. Because again, his playstyle has changed. You don't need to, be a brick wall forever, you just, you just apply it once and it's done. You don't need to stack it up anymore. It's instant. It's better for competitive play. So yeah, I'd say you can run team speed. You can also run other rune builds. Since he doesn't really take any DOT damage, or it really doesn't matter where he goes in the turn order because he can't really be denied, you can run him full team life. Why not? If you're running like a full team of artifact monsters, I don't really know. I don't even think they would get the buff. I don't think that, because because it counts as it still counts as a status effect, so I think they're immune to Totem's buff. We could check that real quick. I think they were, though. I think that hasn't changed, where you can't put Totem's buff on artifact monsters. I don't think that has changed. We'll check that out real quick. But overall, in the sense of competitive play, I'm happy about it. In the sense of it, the sense of fun, I will miss that. For me, as a person that's played video games for a long time, well, things that have an endless stacks is funny to me. It was fun. I liked seeing big numbers on screen just because I took the time to just shove a bunch of buffs on a monster and see it do loads and loads of damage. That was fun to me, and it has. Now it's just gone. I still love this monster. Don't get me wrong. I still love using Totem. Totem's a really, really fun monster, and now he's just competitively viable. That makes me happy. So that means that if I do wind up using them sometime, and people see me use them, get a few wins, it's because of that new change, and it just runs better. For a competitive sense. We're gonna recharge here. Again, we're just gonna see if we can get the Totem buff. Okay, so yeah. Artifacts cannot get Totem buffs, so it's not a good idea to pair Totem up with a full team of artifact monsters. That's good to know. It's good to know that. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with the competitive buff Totem got. God, I'm sorry. I'm really content with it. It's really good competitively. Do give Totem a shot. He is a really, really fun monster. And that's really all I really want to say about Totem. Thank you very much for watching this video. And again, just one more saying and one last time. Again, I'm a huge fan of this monster. I really, really love using Totem. He's my second favorite monster in the game. I love making topic videos on him. He's a very, 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 very interesting monster because he's basically a living rune shop. He gives you any rune you need, so it allows different kinds of scenarios. If you wanted to put a life rune on your monster, but you didn't want to rune it, well, bam, Totem can do that. If you want to put stamina on a monster, bam, Totem can give you a stamina buff. There's just a lot of things Totem can do. It's really, really nice. I don't know if they changed his ultimate though. Is that still what's his percentage? Is still by 7%. Okay, so that hasn't changed. His ult still. I've never liked Totem's ultimate. I've never really seen that too helpful. But this works well with full team speed, I guess. I don't know if this gives people your monsters an extra turn or whatever. Now I don't know how it contributes, but I'm sure it messes something up in the turn order or something. But I've always just liked using his regular skills. Again, overall, fantastic monster. Try him out today. I'm Dib the Awesome. I'll catch you guys later.